Hey, welcome to Chaos and Squiggles, where the podcast is unscripted and I try to be unbiased. I know it's been a very long time that I last uploaded, and that is because I've had some mental situations going on. If you haven't seen the most recent video of mine saying why I haven't been uploading, for context, I had a very person that I love very much. I still love them, but they don't really love me much anymore because they decided to basically leave me. That's a very summarized version. There's a lot more details I could go into, but I'd rather not right now. Maybe that's a different podcast episode for a different day, but why? And if you didn't notice on the clip art, hopefully I'll add this, there's Dr. Manhattan and Scarlet Witch. There will be a reason for that later, but if you didn't notice, we'll be talking about superpowers, and superpowers in our world. And I know people are thinking, some things like, well, I've seen Marvel Ruins. I know what superpowers in our world would be like. Well, Marvel Ruins is pretty accurate, but I remember seeing some actual science and thought of some science of some stuff that would make you think maybe it's not fully accurate. And the best place to start off with is super speed. Super speed is, in Marvel Ruins, we see Quicksilver with his hands and arms, hands and arms and legs and feet disintegrated. And as that would be true, your whole body would be disintegrated if you had super speed. Because you'd be burning up with as fast as you'd be running. You'd be burning up like a person coming back from space. And even if you didn't burn up, and somehow had like a frictionless suit, if you hit something coming towards you, like a bug, it would leave a huge hole in you. Super speed is, as fun as it be, is very inaccurate. Because if you get hit by anything, that speed is being transferred because I believe it's one of the laws of motion or law of inertia or law of motion that basically says, you're gonna hit something and it's gonna hit you back with about the same amount of force that you hit it with. And so if you're running as fast as like speed of light, you're gonna get hit with the speed of light, and that's going to destroy you. So super speed is already, by our world, just going to destroy you the second you start running. Then some people say, well, what about super strength? That can't kill me. No, but it could others. Let's think about this in a sense. You just got super speed, and you were not born with it. You were not raised with it. You just got it. Well, let's say you need help. Let's say you know you have it, but you don't know how much your limit is. Let's just say you have limitless strength, to make this more easy. Well, you don't know your limit yet, but you know you have it because you're limitless, but you don't know that. So let's just say you're picking up a truck for someone, right? You have super strength, you can do it. You're fine. Your muscles are made to now have super limitless strength to the point where you will not take damage. But if you accidentally pick up with your pinky or like, I don't know, like you pick it up with your hand, you could accidentally flip it onto the person, or you could launch it miles away and not realize, oh, I'm not strong. I need to be lighter next time. Well, what if I go pick up a box and I'm like, okay, I'm going to just pick it up real quick, or if I get up really quick, I can accidentally launch it up above me into space. Or what if if I'm fighting someone at a bar or something, okay, I'm fighting you. Well, you're gonna punch them, and then they're gonna either just be gone, they're gonna be passed away, or they'll go through buildings and buildings and buildings and buildings and then pass away. Or let's say that, I don't know, you're just trying to do anything that involves labor. Anything. You would be putting others at harm. You would be fine. You would be fine. But anyone else within your vicinity would have to be like miles away from you, because if you just accidentally throw a tennis, if you're playing catch with your son, you throw the baseball at him, that crap's gonna be going fast because you have so much strength put into it. Because you could technically have super speed, but with other objects with super strength. Let's think about this. The Omni-Man, and when he threw that baseball, is a perfect example. Yes, Omni-Man has super speed. I get it. But the man also has incredible strength. Do you remember how he launches it super far, and there's an emote in Fortnite? Yes, I'm sorry, I play Fortnite. I don't play it a lot, but I do. Well, actually, I do play it a good amount. But There's an emote that also does it, where you basically throw it around the world. Let's just say, and you have super strength, you could catch that baseball and be fine, because your muscles are made to catch those kind of forces. But let's say your son tries to catch it, right? You're playing with your little son or your daughter, and they want to, come on, Dad, let's play ball. Well, alright, son. You throw the ball, not only is that amount of that force and mass from your muscles as you curve throw it is going to go really fast towards your kid, disintegrate your kid. Well, not disintegrate, but pummel your kid. I mean, even if they are lucky enough to hit said baseball, that baseball bat's going to shatter. And it's still probably going to send shrapnel into their face. Super strength is the definition of you can't be around people. You just can't. You have to be like one of those hermits, because if you do anything with anyone, you're going to harm them. Sure, you'll be fine, but they won't be. Well, what about water breathing? Well, ironically, as dumb as the powers it could be, that would be great. Of course, if it's like limitless water breathing. If you have like a limited amount of time, you might get too cocky and end up drowning. But if you have limitless water breathing, like if you're like Percy Jackson, I hope you realize that that is an overpowered power for the sole simple fact of, sure, you can't survive pressure, because the deeper you go in the ocean, the more pressure. You just have water breathing. You don't have pressure immunity. But if you could sit in a pool, sit there, breathe in the pool, and be fine. I mean, sure, you're breathing. Now, granted, I want you to know, any harmful microbes or anything like germs in there, you're going to be inhaling that. May I remind you, that's the other problem, though. It's overpowered. Yeah, you can breathe underwater, but anything that's in that water is going in your system. Sure, I think the water won't mess with you because you're breathing in the water, but anything germ-related is going to go in your system, in your lungs, in your blood, and whatever. So sure, I can breathe underwater now, but I better hope that pool is clean, and even so, there's still chloroform. Not chloroform. That'd be horrible. Unscripted, as I said. What do they use in pools? One second, I'm gonna. Hopefully this doesn't make it disappear. It doesn't, I think. Is it still going? Yes, okay. What do they put in pools? Chlorine! Thank you, it's chlorine. So, you'd be inhaling all that chlorine, and that's going to be very dangerous. Not to mention anything else they put in the pool. Or, like, you might be inhaling, like, dead spiders, which that would be my nightmare. Dead or not, I don't care. That's a spider, and get it away from me. I hate spiders. Sorry for all the spider lovers out there. I'm not one of them. But that's great, right? But also you'll be inhaling anything bad in the water. Well, what about flying at a bird speed? Not super speed, not Omni-Man or Superman or speed. Let's just go with you fly like a bird. Like you can hover like Omni-Man or Superman and you can just fly, but it's bird speed. Well, that power is actually very much safe. Of course, you have to be aware that anything in the sky, like a plane, you have to be able to look out for, and you're moving at a bird's pace. But you're not moving at super speed, so you won't be disintegrated. And you can assumingly do this forever. I mean, yeah, there's also pressure that can change and gravity and all that could mess with you, but obviously you're flying, so that's kind of already warping some things there. But flying, sweet. You can basically not fly. The only downside is that if you're going at a bird's pace, which is the only safe pace for a human body probably, not super speed like Superman, then you could still get hit, and not to mention that anything in the sky can still hit you. Granted, you won't get disintegrated if they hit you, like if you were going at super speed. But that's kind of more like those powers where it's just going to be really boring really fast. Safe, but really boring really fast, because then you're going to be like, yay, I can fly at a bird's pace. This is going to get boring very fast. Unless if you're like some like photographer, then that could be great for you. Then that'd be perfect for photographers, because then they can just get all those angle shots that they need. But you get bored very fast. Well, what about another good one? How about elemental control? Well, already you're bending science as it is. We're trying to go with all based off science and our reality. If you're already controlling, like, let's say, okay, let's just go something easy like Sub-Zero. from Mortal Kombat. You have ice bending, or ice bending. I'm talking like Avatar. Ice control, or water control, technically, I guess is what Sub-Zero does. I'm going QI Lang, because I like QI Lang more than Bihan. So, I'm just going to say Sub-Zero, because that's a Sub-Zero. The Sub-Zero that we all know is QI Lang. I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. But Sub-Zero, well, that could be interesting. Because the only problem is that assuming that when you use your powers, your hands don't turn to ice, and then you can't use the powers again, we're going to go with that that's not the case, because that's not how Sub-Zero works. Right? Sub-Zero can just use his powers and stuff, but then exactly how Mortal Kombat works is the perfect example of what could happen. Because if you are a very emotional person, you could just freeze someone, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that will not work. The second you freeze someone, you're not going to be able to just unfreeze. You're not going to be able to punch them in the game like Mortal Kombat. Oh, they're unfrozen. No, the second you punch the person that's frozen, the second you freeze them in the first place, they're already gone. They're already passed away. But then when you punch them, that's just a guaranteed just fatality. That's why a lot of Sub-Zero's fatalities, I believe, involve him freezing you in the end, because then that's how it would really work. And it's kind of like, yeah. That stinks, because anytime you use it, now it would be great if you're making like an ice rink, or it can be used for fun. This is one of those superpowers where it's kind of like it can be useful, it can be not useful. It's one of those more balanced superpowers. I'm going with ice because it's just the easiest to think of, because it's probably the least dangerous. Kind of. Fire would be obviously the most dangerous. Ice is a little different, but think about this. You could literally do like what they did for Jack Frost and the Guardians, which is basically you could just make like a whole ice rink for kids. You could make ice armor. You could make ice weapons. You could make ice. There's literally ice for your drinks. Like, be the perfect bartender. But at the same time, anytime you use an offense, that person is as good as gone. They are gone. Anything you freeze on them is gone. Their feet, gone. Their whole self, gone. You also got to remember that you're going to be highly dangerous, and probably the government would come after you. Well, what about Wolverine's healing factor? I'm picking Wolverine specifically because he has a crazy healing factor. What do you have Wolverine's healing factor? Well, from what I've gathered, I'm not even sure if Wolverine can pass away of old age. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that he can pass away by. Also, I think decapitation, but I think it's more Deadpool. Because he was able to be revived after like his whole skeleton was burned off. His whole skin and stuff was burned off. I remember that. But let's say you don't have Wolverine's claws, right? You're not Wolverine's claws, you just have his healing factor. That's one of those powers that would be, in our reality, overpowered. It's one of the few powers that actually gives you a happy ending. Kind of. Because, well, yeah, you can take a punch and you still have pain, by the way. This is the only problem with the healing factor, though. Is that I'm pretty sure Wolverine still feels pain. He just has a really high pain tolerance. He's not immune to pain. So you have your normal pain tolerance plus whatever Wolverine's healing factor. So if you were getting, like, well, shot at or whatever, yeah, you're going to feel, that's going to be immense pain. Granted, you won't pass away from it. You'll be fine. But it's still going to hurt a lot. But let's just say, in that situation, you don't feel pain. Then you are going to be overpowered. You could be used, the government's going to come after you. I'm going to let you know that if you have any powers, the governments will come after you. That's just a given in any superpower, as long as it's like an actually good one. Unless it's like stupid one, like every time I fart, I spawn a burrito. And that's just, the government's not going to care. But what's really scary about these powers is if you're like Wolverine's healing factor, if you cannot pass away far from public old age. And here's the thing, diseases cannot harm you. And here's the best part, you could be a hero, or you could be a villain. You could easily be a villain, you could easily be a hero. People would be like, well, I could be easily a villain. How could you easily be a hero? So, donate your blood. The second you donate your blood to someone, if you donate like a good amount, which is the point where they won't get a healing factor, and that's the problem though, you have to be very careful, because then you can just grant a lot of people a healing factor like you, and then the whole civilization could be, messed up. But let's just say you donate a little bit of blood. You don't even have to donate much, probably, considering how you have Wolverines. Guess what? You just cured someone of cancer. Heck, your blood would probably become like, doctors would be seeking you out, or not be seeking you out because they might also want to get paid, but The point is they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, this person is going to either be our savior or our destroyer. But Wolverine's healing factor is one of those things where it's like, yeah, you win. You won the superpower jackpot. The only problem is that you're gonna probably feel all that pain. Wolverine is just, I don't know if he can feel pain. I think he does. He's just really good pain tolerance. I mean, his skeleton is with adamantium, so that does also help with against his pain. But you're not gonna have an adamantium skeleton. You're just having his healing factor. Remember, we're just doing his healing factor. So currently on the list, the only good really superpowers are like just the only pure good ones. Healing factor, and a really good one, not a crappy one. Well, what's another good power I can talk about? Okay, what about if we had powers like, well, let's just go Cyclops. Heat vision eyes. That's already just immediate, your eyes are gone. And I just realized that's an easy power to explain. Your eyes are gone. Even if your eyes were made to be that way, you're going to have to be just like Cyclops and wear some kind of technology that's going to, which we don't have that kind of technology. So every time you open your eyes, someone's getting lasered. Unless you can control it like Superman, then that could be cool. And if your eyes don't get destroyed the second you use them, and you're like Superman, granted, if that's the only power you have, it's gonna be, I mean, cool, but you're still not invincible. You're just, yeah, you can destroy things easily. You destroy entire buildings with just a quick head tilt. That's the problem, though. You've got to be very careful with that power because you can be destructive. You could be the destroyer. Granted, people can still destroy you because, yeah. But if you're like Cyclops and it's always active, that'd be just straight up torture because you're going to have to wear something like what Professor X gave Cyclops and said, we don't have that. You're just going to just have to close your eyes. You're going to become blind. Because the second you open your eyes, everything around you, everything in front of you or around you when you look around is just gone. Okay, what's another good power? Okay. Necromancy. This is definitely going to be a touchy, controversial subject because I feel like some people don't. I know necromancy is usually like a sign of like unholiness. So I might not even talk. Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about that because let's not try and get canceled here. I mean, there's some. I was going to say there's some pluses and minuses of that, but let's not go into that. How about something like Hulk, where the more of an emotion you feel, the more powerful you get. Let's go with, instead of strength, we've already done strength. What about the more emotions you feel, the more durable you get. Like the more like iron skin. Well, there's a lot. That's one of those versatile powers. Like, oh, I'm more this, now I get more of this. Yeah, let's just do Hulk, so it's easier that way. Instead of anger, let's just say, yeah, we'll go with anger because it makes it easier. If you're a very angry person, like I can be, great. Because here's the thing. That's a good super strength, because if you're calm, you're not going to hurt people. You're going to have basic human strength, most likely. Unless if you're always angry all the time, then. But if you're rageful, that's going to become bad, because here's the problem. And here's why this is why the Hulk could not live in our world, even if Marvel Ruins, what happened to him in Marvel Ruins with the radiation didn't happen. He would not fit in our world. Because, picture this, right? Bruce Banner is, that's the, if no one knows who Hulk's real identity is, that's Bruce Banner. Let's say Bruce Banner's on the road, right? And let's say he doesn't even transform into the Hulk when he gets angry. He just gets super strong like the Hulk. He's on the road, someone passes him and makes him angry. Do you understand how much that puts that driver at risk? Because now, if I slam the gas, not only am I probably going to break the gas pedal, even if I don't break the gas pedal, I'm going to be angry. And for heck's sake, I would probably ram into the person, and the problem is, okay, even better. That's a bad scenario. Bruce Banner's at a bar. Someone's hitting on Black Widow, because let's be honest, those two should have been together. Someone's hitting on Natasha. Well, you could argue that Hawkeye should have been with Natasha. I go with Bruce Banner for this situation. Let's say Bruce has seen Natasha get hit on, and somehow she can't handle it herself. That'd be really surprising. But let's just say she can't. Bruce is going to walk up to them and just punch them, and the problem is that he's angry. You cannot control that anger, because now if I had super strength all the time, it's still dangerous. But if it's only when you're angry, do you understand how bad Hulk would fit in? Because if he was calm, he'd be fine. But since anger is such a volatile emotion and can harm people, if you're going to have limitless strength with your anger, you would be such a danger because you would be destroying everything. Because when you're angry, you want to destroy stuff. Well, congratulations, you're probably going to destroy. Instead of destroying I'm going to punch my wall. Congratulations, your wall's gone. Or I'm angry at you. I'm going to punch you once. Well, that person's probably gone now. Especially if you have Hulk's kind of ability. Yeah, no, they're gone. Well, what about sadness? That'd be different. Considering sadness, I don't see you, although if you're sad, I don't see you using your powers much because you're probably just demotivated. But what if you're happy? Or what if you're feeling nice? That would be good. If Hulk was instead of heroicness and happiness instead of anger, he'd fit in. Because then if he's happy, he just helps somebody like, hey, he's like, man, I can't lift up my couch. And he's like, oh, here you go. And he lifts up his couch. But only problem is that, yeah, the more happy and nice you are, the more probably chance you'll just throw the couch in the ceiling. But also, if you're nice and happy, you might try and control your strength a little bit more than if you're very angry. What about X-ray vision? Let's not even go there. I just realized, let's not even go there. Because the TV shows like to joke about X-ray vision is, you see that lady? Like, no, that's not how X-ray vision works. X-ray vision is the bones, not I can see through your skin, not through cloth or fabric. Shows tend to get that. I know it's just meant to be a joke, but that's not how that works. It's just, I see your skeleton. Cool. The only problem with X-ray vision is that if you can turn it on and off, then cool, but what's the point? I mean, yeah, I get to see where if you have a fractured bone. If you're a medic, that'd be great, because like, oh, they have a fractured bone right there. Well, how'd you know? I can see it. I can turn it on and off. But if it's always on, you're probably going to see everything in black and gray or black and white. So congratulations, you now have dog vision. And now you're just and the only thing you're going to see in white probably is just people's skeletons. And it's going to be one of those powers that's just a nuisance, if anything. It's just like, really? What about thermal vision? If you can turn that on and off, that would be great, especially if you're a hunter. That would be seriously good for hunters, actually. Because then you could see where, like, okay, what if there's a bear sneaking up on you? I'll just turn my thermal vision on. Okay. I know some animals are cold-blooded, but most animals are warm-blooded. Most are. So you could just be like, oh, there's the bear, so I know not to go that direction. Or, let's say you're hunting a deer. Oh, dang it, the dang deer went away. Well, I'll turn on my thermal vision. There's the deer. The only problem with thermal vision is that if you're a firefighter, it's going to be like blinding lights. Like, you see the people. Turn on your thermal vision. Are you stupid? There's fire. I'll be able to see the people. Yeah, totally. Not like I'm going to see, like, just pure blinding, just yellow and orange heat signatures from the fire. Not to mention, a lot of things give off heat. So even if you're just like a heater, it's going to be awkward. Like, you see them? No, I can't see them. There's a fire in the what? But if you're a hunter, that'd be great. So that's one of those powers where it's like, it depends what you do for a living. What about, this would be an interesting one, teleporting. Teleportation is one of those powers where it's kind of like, well, what's the limits? How does the teleportation work? Is it like, do you have to know the location? Do you have to know the location and picture it? Do you have to, like, see it in front of you in your face? Or can you just teleport anywhere without even knowing it? Let's say we're going to go with we're trying to go for the more powerful approaches of the powers, by the way. So let's say you can teleport anywhere you want, not without even knowing the location. Just say like, oh, like for example, like your friend's like, I live here, and you're like, okay, teleport me to that location, brain, powers. Boom, you're there. The problem is that power is like, well, it depends on how you teleport. If you're going to teleport like through like, turn it into a liquid, well, that's just dumb. But if you just teleport just like a zip-zap, you're already breaking science and reality. So at that point, it doesn't really matter. You know, it doesn't. You're already breaking reality because, assuming you don't just disappear if you teleport, if you do appear, then congratulations, you just broke reality, because that's not how reality works. So, cool. That power would be overpowered. The only problem is that if you give it to the wrong person, oh no. The amount of crimes that will be probably committed would be horrible. you have to give that power to someone that you know will not abuse it. Because if someone is petty with someone, they could teleport to their work, they could teleport, and they could just teleport out after they cause a scene. That's one of those powers where it's like, oh no, don't do this to the wrong person, especially not a criminal. Just don't. Just don't. But what's another? I want to try and go for 2 more powers, then we're going to get to the main power that I was going to talk about, which is actually reality warping, and how that is actually the most overpowered power that has ever existed in comics, in my opinion. What's 2 more powers I can think of? I already did like elemental stuff. Mind control. Mind control. Actually, that's probably a bad example because we already know how that's gonna go. Like we already know that's gonna end badly because well, it's mind control. What else do you expect to come out of it? Like I know I'd use it for some things. I'd probably just mind control my ex, and when I wouldn't mind control her, but I'd probably be like, hey, babe, or I guess I can't say babe anymore. But hey, I don't want to say her name, so Haxapa. Hey, Haxapa, can you just... I'll just... Mind control. The problem with mind control is, I just realized I'm thinking more about, like, mind communication, like telekinesis. Or... I'm thinking about mind control. The only problem with mind control is that what I was thinking of saying was, oh, I'd talk to her with her mind. Like, I'd talk to her miles away and talk to her in her mind. But that's not how mind control works. Mind control works like you're controlling them. You're not talking to them. So never mind. That example would be very bad. Mind control is one of those powers where it's kind of like, yeah, no, people are going to abuse that. I don't care if you're a golden child or not. You're going to abuse it at some point. You're going to use it for something, for your own gain, or maybe someone else's gain. But you're going to use it on someone. There's no, because a golden child, if you're really a good person, you wouldn't use that power ever. But there's no way if you were granted mind control, limitless mind control, like no one can, like you have no Batman block or something. Like no, you can no, there's no, and especially if there's like no, like if you don't have to see them to do it, like you can just do it at your own home. No, people are gonna abuse that. Now they can abuse it for good and like stop wars, but you're still morally in the wrong because you're mind controlling someone to stop. Now, granted, you're morally in the right for stopping the war, but you're also morally wrong for having to control the person to do it. So it's very weird. It'd also probably get very overwhelming if people learned what you could do, because then people might be messaging you like, hey, my friend, and or I need this person to do this. Like people are gonna, yeah. Well, what about telekinesis? Like talking. But when I count telekinesis, I mean like controlling stuff with your mind and talking to people with your mind. This would be more where I'd give my ex example. I just want to say girlfriend, man, because I missed her that much. The ex example. Well, then I talk to her mentally and be like, hey. I talk to her and tell her how I'm feeling and how much I miss her. That would be different than mind control. But telekinesis is one of those powers where it's kind of like, if you have ADHD like I do, good luck. Like talking to someone mentally, that kind of telekinesis, oh, that's fine. But controlling stuff with your mind, that's going to get awkward. Like, for example, I have this spoon in front of me. I have ADHD. So my mind would be like, okay, spoon, go up. Go left. No, go left. And it's going to be like, and the spoon's gone. My brain will be like, spoon, spin around. Spin, go up. Nope. So that's where you need to, like, really not have, like, ADHD or depression or really much of anything mentally if you want telekinesis. Because then your mind will be like, for example, a headset, like, headset turn on. Headset turned on. Headset play music. Plays the music. And then ADHD would be like, headset blast music. No! Or if you're depression, just be like, headset. What would depression do? Actually, I can think of great examples, but I can't say them on YouTube, so never mind. A lot of the stuff I can think of for your depression is not going to be YouTube friendly, so I'm like, But telekinesis is one of those powers where if you have ADHD or focus issues, you are just give up your powers. It's going to be impossible for you to use them. Especially if your ADHD is against you and it doesn't work with you, then you can end up harming yourself on accident. It could be bad. So you best have dang good focus control if you're gonna have telekinesis. Or if you just want to talk to people mentally, that'd be different. Or if you can like telekinesis means like read minds, so you could like read their mind and talk to them. That's great. The only problem with reading people's minds is that if you can't turn that crap off, number one, you're gonna be hearing people's minds all the time, especially if you have no range, dude. That's gonna get annoying. But if like just to say hypothetically, I have to look at someone and read their mind, and I can't turn it off, and it's someone I know, they could be thinking horrible things about me, and then I'm gonna feel all sad when I'm like, oh. And then guess what? You can't just walk up to the person and be like, why'd you say that about me, huh? Because you're gonna be like, how did you know? And then you're gonna be like, I can read minds. Do you realize how ugly that's gonna get? Because then you're gonna be like, you're reading my mind. I'm like, I can't turn it off. And then if they're understanding, they'll be like, okay, but still, really? And yeah, it's gonna be a privacy issue. But if you can turn it off, then cool. But then even then, reading people's minds, if you turn it on, you might hear stuff you don't want to hear, or see stuff you don't want to see. Especially if you can see what they're thinking, that may not be good. But now let's get into what I really wanted to talk about, even though it's already been 31 minutes. Dang. Reality warping. I'm not sure how long I can keep this reality warping. I'm probably going to go for like another 10, 20 minutes, hopefully. But reality warping, I could honestly summarize this actually very easily, that you would become omnipotent. You just have to be incredibly creative and imaginative if you want to be a reality warper. Because let's think about this. I'm reality warping. Right? I'm a reality bender. That's a superpower. But if I pick a superpower, because if you look at Marvel Ruins, Scarlet Witch is living a good life because she's a reality bender. So let's just say about this. Reality bending. Well, already I can just do anything I want. Let's think about this. Reality bending is the definition basically of I can do whatever I want because I'm bending reality. That doesn't mean just planet Earth. That means the whole universe. I can create a planet like that and make animals. Or animals exist on it. Like, or like, oh, I want to have a healing factor? I got a healing factor now. Because you're already breaking every rule of science and reality, why not just break it more? Or you could use those, and the thing with reality bending is you could either be the most evil person to ever exist or the most nicest person to ever exist. This is one of those moments where you're like, I can see like a movie like Hancock, before people say like that's demonetization. No, that's actually a movie name. That's the movie name of the movie. It stars Will Smith. It's basically kind of like how people say this is what people would be like if they had superpowers, bored and stuff. I'm like, I wouldn't be if I had reality bending. The guy doesn't have reality bending. He's more like great. He's like a deity, so he's like really powerful. But I'm like, if I had reality bending, I could become like Hancock. I could do anything. I could bring Hancock into reality. I could bring Omni-Man, and that'd be a very bad idea. But I could bring any fictional character into reality. And if you people, and here's the name, and I want you to know, the government always come after you after every power. Here's why reality bending is so great. If you have ice control, any other power I've listed basically so far, the government can fight you. With reality bending, what is the government going to do? You have weapons? They're gone now. Oh, you have gear? It's gone now. You had the intention to harm me? No, you don't, not anymore. And you'd be like, but you can't control minds. Well, but I'm a reality bender. I can bend reality to give myself that power. So I mean, this is limitless reality bending. No, originally I can't do that. But if I just give myself the about like, oh, I want every single power ever imaginable and not have science affect it like it should. Dude, I'm basically a god. You become a god. And that's concerning because if you're a reality bender, if you just think of like, and I could get rid of my ADHD. I could cure everyone of their ADHD. I could sit at home like I am right now. Heck, I wouldn't even have to probably publish podcast episodes. I could just make the podcast episodes publish themselves. Or I could just, or for heck's sake, I could make my channel blow up out of nowhere. I could make I have a friend. I have a couple friends. I can make like Mr. Goldeneye is a good example. I could just make his channel blow up immediately, just out of nowhere. Boom. I help out my friends. I get out my family. My family situation, we don't have a lot of money. Boom, I could just spawn like millions of dollars in my hand. Billions of trillions, quintillions if I wanted to. I could be the richest person ever. Just like, oh, dang, I have money now. My parents would be so confused. They'd be like, well, my parents, yeah, still, yeah. But, just be like, my parents would be like, how'd you get all that money? Where'd you get all that money? How? Where? I'll be like, well, I just spawned it. It's here now. Take some. We can now afford anything we've ever wanted. And reality warping is one of the things, and here's the thing. You could live forever, you could give yourself any power. This is assuming if the reality warping is limitless. Unless you have like limits like, oh, unless it's like a genie where like, oh, you can't affect people, well then that's going to be not reality warping, because it's technically reality warping. And here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing with that. I just realized. Limits wouldn't matter. You wanna know why? Let's just say a genie gives you the power, you have a genie, and the genie's like, you want reality warping? Sorry, you can't affect people though. Okay, I'll take that. He'd probably still be like, wait, you're okay with that? I'd be like, yeah, because that's what I'm gonna, because he gives me the power. I'm like, because now I'm gonna make it reality warping. I'm gonna warp reality to the point where now I can do that. Your limit means nothing on me. No limit you give me can mean anything because I can warp the power to have that ability. I can do anything. That's why in Scarlet Witch versus Doctor Strange, I'm like, Doctor Strange, how are you not gone within the first milliseconds of Scarlet Witch seeing you? When Scarlet Witch just toying with you, she's playing with her food. Like, if you want your children back, just do what you did beforehand. Make them out of nowhere. The whole movie was pointless. Like, I miss my kids. We'll make them back. Just, you did it before. They didn't exist in the first place. Just create them again. Oh, yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, you didn't think of that, did you? Like, the whole movie could have been avoided. Just like, Doctor Strange is like, Wanda, you have no idea what I mean. Just spawn new kids. Wait, what? You did it before. Yeah, but they were real to me. Well, make them real. Okay, Steven. Like, that whole movie would have been done in like 5 minutes. Like Scarlet Witch would have been like, oh, I was about to like make a whole movie out of this, but yeah, no, let's just do that. Like, why? Like, it's not that hard. You already made Vision come out of nowhere. You already made all your kids come out of nowhere. Just do it again. Reality warping is like the ultimate superpower because you can do anything if you just use your brain. If you're not a very intelligent person, then that can be awkward. But if you, it's not that hard. You know what's funny is if you're not intelligent, make yourself intelligent all of a sudden. That's the thing about reality bending. If it's limitless, and even if there is limits, just get rid of the limits. I know there's been some comments on this podcast like, but that's not how reality bending works. Well, it kind of does, because if you really think about it deeply enough like I have been, reality bending means you bend reality. Reality is everything. So if I can bend everything and anything, that includes what's being added to reality, which would mean the superpower is what's added to reality, right? That's a new thing of reality. It's like, if I discovered a new element, or I create a new element, that element is now a part of reality. And now I can change that element to whatever I want. Like, oh, okay, what if I added adamantium? Congratulations, adamantium is now part of reality. Now I can change that adamantium to do whatever I want. So if I gain the power, reality bending is now a part of reality, and now I can bend reality bending. Reality bending is the ultimate power of I can do whatever I want. And that's why I would love to have that power, because literally I could do anything. And if the funny thing is, people be like, it'd get boring. No, it wouldn't. You could just you could do anything. There's no way it'd get boring. Like, oh, I'm tired of doing this. Let's just do this instead. You could literally become the definition of Johnny Knoxville. Like, you can be like, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Instead of like, or Mythbusters. Just like, welcome to Mythbusters. I'm just going to do random crap. What would happen if Wolverine fought Deadpool in real life? There you go. What would happen if Omni-Man existed? There you go. What would happen if Superman existed? There you go. What happens if I deleted Superman? There you go. And the ultimate funny fact is, the only problem is that, what if you spawn Scarlet Witch? You know what's funny? That word gets ugly. Never, if you had reality bending, never create another reality bender. Or give another person reality bending abilities. Because unless if you immediately before you do that, make it the reality bending effect that if you give a reality bender powers, they cannot take away your powers, or they cannot damage you, then cool. But you know what that could do? If they think about that, they can just delete that reality bending that you just made. Unless you made it like there's no, even if reality bending can't affect that. But then guess what happens? If you want to end up affecting that reality bending change, you can't affect the reality bending change. because you made sure it could not be possible. But then, if the person's smart, the other person's smart enough, they could find a way to break it. Reality bending is the definition of you got to keep that power. Do not give it to anyone else. You'd have to trust them with the whole universe. They'll like, I trust you with my life. No, at that point, you have to trust them with everything that exists. Because if that person does one bad thing, you're to blame because you gave them those powers. So that is what reality bending would do. It is the most scary power that could ever exist because if you just think it through and you use it and you're creative, you can do anything limitlessly. Anything. And that's what makes it scary, is that there's no limits. When there is no limits on something, it gets dangerous. That's what reality bending is. Well, I'm stretching, sorry. It's been 41 minutes. I think that's a pretty good long podcast episode. This is the podcast about superpowers, and yeah. Now we know what I personally believe is the most overpowered superpower because I can do anything with it. If you liked this podcast episode, thanks first of all for watching it because I don't get many views. Granted, I don't publish on YouTube much, so it's kind of my fault. But if you did watch this, first of all, thank you. And if you watched to the end, especially thank you. If you like this kind of stuff, I'm trying to upload more, but I'm going to try uploading more often. But my mind is still in a bad state, so we'll see. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe if you want to. I'm not gonna do like one of those YouTube like, if you don't do this, Thunderman. Like, no, I'm not doing that crap because anyone with a brain's gonna know that's just a lie. It's just stupid tactic. I don't get why YouTubers do that, but anyways, I don't. But thank you. Have a good day or night wherever you are. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. If I had reality bending, I probably know what to say. But enjoy your day. Have a good day or night, because it could be nighttime. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one.